I would love for one of you all to tell us something about the athlete allies. Give us some perspective.
God, where's Johnny when we need him?
Yeah. you guys got this though. Johnny's our president who's coming from a final.
Okay.
So excited to meet you both. His enthusiasm is extremely contagious. But I know you guys can take it away in the meantime. Logan.
Just make really quick, really quick.
Okay, so yeah, I'm Logan. I kind of pitched the concept of starting the club on campus because I'm from Long Beach, California, and I'm a transfer student here. Actually, I did 2 years at community college at home and then 2 years here. So I had time to grow up in my very liberal and gay-friendly environment. And I came here and I didn't find quite the same celebration for that. So I wanted to make sure that there was a space for the celebration of our differences on campus, and especially within athletics. So I decided to found this club kind of and reached out to Dr. Nichols, who we kind of did some research together and found Athlete Ally that we were able to align with, and rallied some students around it, and we're able to form this.
Awesome.
This is incredible,
Yes.
y'all. This is really, really incredible. And not only incredible, but important that that spaces for people who have traditionally been ousted and marginalized and not included in the norm, right? Be given a space in which we can love on each other, we can support each other, we can empower each other, and we can inspire each other. And Derrick and I are here gratefully.
Yes, we are.
We're
Yes,
grateful to be here, grateful to have this moment and this space with each and every one of you in which we can learn something about you and share some things about us and talk about how we can change the world together. Because a lot of people are hurting out there. And we all have a responsibility to resolve that. Some people have a individualistic perspective on life, you know, take care of me and mine and my family. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm a communal kind of guy. I believe that humans are supposed to love on each other and support each other and figure out ways in which we can unify so that we can all live in harmony and so we can all address the suffering that others have to endure. So that's a little bit about my perspective on life. Derrick, do you want to say anything specific before we show y'all our proposal video?
Yes, yes. And just to add on that, if you read this session description, that's why we named it Better Together, because we know that we are all better together. And so I want to thank you so much for even starting the organization and having that vision. Definitely when we came to Boston, we didn't know anyone. And it was different from us coming from the South because it's not gay friendly at all. So we're definitely going to share some of our struggles, some of our experiences. We've been together for 6 years, so it's been a long journey since 2012. And we are recently engaged in October. Jonathan proposed to me, so I'm still on cloud 9 about that. And you guys are going to see how amazing it is. So let's watch that really quick.
Clyde?
No, I don't think so.
This is our friend Clyde, y'all.
And so Clyde is actually from here. Yes.
So he's from around these woods.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm from the South, so I'm a little country. And so y'all just gonna have to accept it.
Yes. All right, let's see. I get butterflies every time I watch it, y'all.
Oh shoot, sorry.
So we do have a YouTube channel.
We'll tell you guys more about our video. Our video went viral, as you just said. Oh, you should did the one with the words.
It's all right.
The key word. That's my sister. That was a surprise too.
Beautiful. He just jumped in and started taking over
Yeah.
and directing us. And so, on your own time, well, maybe. Okay, come on.
So people just start popping up out of nowhere, y'all.
Yeah, so there,
Like,
so there was waves of surprises. So we had at least 50 family and friends who were behind bushes who were hiding.
yes.
So blessed to meet you. But then there's one more wave, right?
Yeah, just it's right. It's about to happen.
Okay. Y'all can imagine the rain had beaches and all kinds
Thank you so much. Oh my God, we love you so much. Okay.
It's about to happen.
That was crazy. Y'all came out of
I'm so sorry I had y'all.
No, don't stop.
You just stop. This is such an amazing time. We not the ride. I think the game.
Is it gonna happen on this one?
right at the parking lot. Oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's about to happen right now.
And so these are our amazing friends.
Yes, they're so amazing.
Um,
So, backstory, we do a photo shoot. We try to do a photo shoot every single year for professional reasons, professional headshots, and just we like to take pictures. And so this was our photo shoot for this year. And so I didn't know it was going to turn into this. That's why everybody's like, well, how did y'all have a camera there? And it's like, okay, well, that's how we had a camera there. So it was an incredible experience, y'all. And I hope that you can really see the emotion in the video. We have been through so much. Of course, when we had first got together, we were in a DL relationship for almost 4.5 years. And Jonathan is an ordained minister from the South, from Louisiana, Texas, and I was blessed to be able to come out to my family when I was younger. So I was 16 years old, but I still come from a very religious family. So I had experienced a lot of even isolation from my own family. So when we decided that we love each other and that we were going to get married, of course, you see, we have a lot of support from our friends, but we still have a lot of tension with our family. And Jonathan's going to tell you more about his family and his upbringing because he has some struggles that he want to share, even about his father, that is still going on today. And we also want to engage all of you to hear more about your stories and how you're dealing with life. So,
So I started preaching at 11 years old. I was licensed at 14 and ordained at age 20. And so for any of you who have any kind of religious affiliation, you can imagine what it was like to be in a Christian community and lead a Christian church where homosexuality was condemned, and you are growing up having to wrestle with understanding or believing that you were going to hell and you were not legitimate and that somehow you had some type of demon inside of you and you needed to get this thing out. But while at the same time knowing how you feel, I knew I liked boys, and I couldn't reconcile that. I had a hard time and getting up to preach and inspire people and motivate people at the same time, though, thinking that something was wrong with me. And so I've lived most of my life DL and hiding that and wrestling with that. I tried to date girls. I was about to marry one girl. Thank God that didn't work out.
yes, thank God.
But literally, that was my experience, and came out to my mom in December 2015, and my baby brother. And my father, somehow, I still don't know how my daddy found out, but he did a few months later. It probably, my mom or my brother probably told me, but they won't tell me the truth and say that's what really happened, but that's neither here nor there. And my father didn't speak to me for an entire year. No phone calls, no text messages. When I would call him, he wouldn't respond. When I would text him, he wouldn't reply. Told me that I was an embarrassment. And this man is one of my best friends. You know, to have somebody that you love so dearly ostracize you in that way because they're believing the same things you used to believe about yourself. Right? So it's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate. And what's beautiful, and the reason why we even wanted to show this proposal video to you today, is around this notion that for us, we have realized that we're better together. That as long as you have people in your life, whoever they are, who love on you through the thick and thin, that matters. And speaking with a group of athletes, that matters.
Yeah.
Understanding the people you're working with and loving on them and supporting them through whatever it is you are trying to do, and in most times in an athletic sense, you're trying to win. You're trying to win. But oftentimes personalities are involved in that, perspectives are involved in that, and you have to figure out how do we work through these perspectives and work through our struggles. And here's the deal, life happens. So then how do we get everybody to play when one of us had a traumatic situation before we came to the game or to the practice? How do we get you to still be engaged? It's this notion about unification and the power of oneness, that we are better together. And as long as we try and get to know each other a little better every single day, we learn how to overcome and we learn how to be the best that we can possibly be. And that's how we change the world. Getting to know each other more and more as much as we can, so that we can learn more about each other and overcome the obstacles and the challenges that come our way. Derrick and I want you, as you think about even our proposal and anything that you hear tonight about our life, don't just look at us as a relationship, look at us as a journey. As a journey. And that's why we wanted all of those people at our proposal Well, that's why I wanted all those people.
Right.
But that's why, because we realize that we don't do this alone. We do this with all of the amazing, incredible human beings that we are blessed to have in our lives. We don't do this by ourselves. And Mookie actually, I'm sorry, that's his nickname, but he wanted me to call him by his real name.
That's Mookie.
But we call him Mookie, so I'm sorry. This is our dear friend and brother, and he helped to plan the proposal, so he knew about everything the entire time, and he organized all these people and put them behind the bushes and all these good things. And we really, really appreciate you for being here with us tonight.
Thank you.
Like, it is very, very important to us to have people in our lives, and we realize that our oneness is not Derrick and Jonathan. It's Derrick, Jonathan, and all the amazing people in our lives. And that's the same with each and every one of you. You don't have a team by yourself.
Right.
Teams don't exist. Nobody's a one-man show, a one-man team. And in basketball, we call it a ball hogger.
Right.
And nobody like ball hoggers.
Right.
Do y'all? I don't.
Right.
Pass me the ball.
Right.
You know, that's important, right? That's critical to winning the game.
Yeah.
Is playing together and being on the same page and being on the same team.
That's so true. So in terms of challenges, we want to hear some of the things that you all have went through in your lives. And if you don't mind sharing with us and being vulnerable with us and seeing how we can be better together by knowing each other's challenges, by knowing each other's strengths, seeing how we can work together as a team, how you guys can work more better together as a team by knowing each other, by knowing what you have been through. So if anybody is welcome to share your experience and your life experience, we would love to hear that.
It's a safe space. Not just a safe space, it's our space. We own this space. Right? This is our space. And we want you to be vulnerable with us as we're vulnerable with you, because I really, really do believe this. Oftentimes, people who play together, they don't really get a chance to know the deep stuff.
Right.
And I think that if you knew more about the deep stuff, you play differently together. You play differently. So take a moment, breathe, reflect, think. What have you gone through that has been one of the most challenging circumstances in your life? That at the time you didn't think you were going to actually get through it. Think about that thing. Think about that thing. And when you're ready, the floor is yours.
Anybody can start, and then we can go from there.
When you're ready.
I'll say a little something.
Okay.
I'm from Texas.
Hey, what part?
Dallas area.
Oh, what part?
South Lake?
I used to live in Irving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
What's up, brother?
20 minutes away, yeah. But so I kind of grew up around an atmosphere similar to what you're describing. And I don't really have like a lesson to pull from this or whatever, but I just thought I'd share. I thought for like years, I'd come out, if I were to ever come out, which was not even a question until I was like 17. Like, I was denying it up until then. But then when I decided maybe I would, I thought I would be disowned by my family because I grew up, we went to church every Sunday. My dad always said, I married my wife because she was Republican and, God-loving woman. Like, that was like his thing. I was like, oh gosh, that's like what? Like, ugh. But then I did eventually muster up the courage to come out after me keeping it in was causing me to just like fight with my parents. We would fight is maybe like a little understatement. It was very aggressive, and I was very unhappy. And so when I did come out, though, they were actually specifically my dad was the most accepting person I could have ever imagined. I sat him on the couch, or my parents on the couch one day, and after I came out, I actually said I think I'm gay, which at that point I guess it was an I think, but no matter, it was the truth. And he just stood up and he said that's it, and he's like, I knew since you were 11. He said you didn't have any stereotypes or anything. He said a father just knows, knew something was wrong or something was wrong in my mind, that I was upset,
Mm-hmm.
and he was so happy that I got it out, and he just hugged me, and
Wow.
I cried. So
Wow.
I'm inspired by your story that you didn't have that immediate,
Mhm.
acceptance, and I know it's still a constant struggle, but I'm thankful for the times that
Yeah.
like I do feel accepted.
Mhm.
And I knew that once my parents had my back, nobody
Nobody else. Yeah.
could say anything. After that, I was way more comfortable.
Yeah.
It took progress, of course.
Mhm.
It was a process still, but I knew once they're on my side, once I had my support net in place, nobody could say anything wrong about me.
Mhm.
And that I kind of channeled that into confidence today, and that was years ago.
That's
Yes,
beautiful.
that is amazing.
That's so
Thank you.
beautiful. That's so beautiful.
Thank you. Anybody else?
By the way, we cut the video, so there's during the discussion, so you
Yeah.
feel free to.
Yeah.
Okay, well then I'll kind of follow up, Johnny. Like I was in a similar situation in high school. I really wasn't comfortable with who I was or the feelings that I was having, and I was especially concerned with what my team would think of me because they weren't good people and were very outspoken about racism, sexism, homophobia, all that good stuff. So that was my biggest concern, was what they were going to think and how it was going to impact the team if I were to come out. So I kept it from them for a long time, but then when I did eventually come out, wintertime, my senior year of high school, nobody cared on the team, or nobody at least spoke against it, but it was really tough, and it was like coming out to my parents my mom was cool, and then coming out to my dad, he didn't get it, and like we would still get into arguments about it quite a bit, and that is hard, but at the same time, like hearing you guys talk about the fact that you're better together is awesome, because I've had friends and other people in my life who've been able to help me through what I'm going through and like support me and be there for me if sometimes your family's not, and you get to pick your family in cases like this, and that's one of the things I'm real grateful for here at BU. At least I've found on my team, and a lot of other people around me have been really supportive, and I think definitely been there for me and become that family, which is amazing. And that's one of the other reasons why I wanted to start the group, was so that people could see that that's around, and like if anybody's hurting or struggling, if like I said, I had time to come out and figure myself out for a couple of years back home in a setting that was more comfortable with people who I know my whole life. And I know if I were to come here at 18 and be thrown into this mix, it would have been very different. So I wanted to make sure that the space was created for people to hopefully see that there are other people like them, and it doesn't hold you back, and there are other people around you that support you no matter what.
This
That
is
was
incredible,
my-
Logan.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's incredible.
Anybody? Go ahead.
Mine is less of a struggle, but kind of just a little bit of a story about how I'm here. And so right back home in Colorado, I went to a tiny school. With me, my graduating class was 30 kids, and the entire high school, it was just vanilla valley. There was not a single colored person, not a single gay person. And so that perspective for
So
me.
you think?
What's that?
So you think?
That's true. But so, that perspective, the struggles of people, of LGBT people, colored people, was something back home that wasn't really on my mind, because I just wasn't exposed to it. And so then thinking about my own life, I'm very fortunate in that I haven't had too many large struggles in my life, and so I'm very, very grateful and very fortunate for that. But so then when I came here and was exposed to so many more people, right, and I started learning and meeting so many new types of people, I realized there are people that today still are struggling, right? And a dumb example is classic high school senior, I had my heart broken when I left for college, and so knew that pain, right? There's people experiencing pain worse than that, and on a daily basis feeling they aren't loved. So you know, like Johnny now is one of my best friends. He started telling me about some struggles he's been through, and that really got me coming to these meetings and realizing that, right, we are all just people, and we deserve to be loved and to feel loved. And so this is one, I think, foot in the doorstep, one small way that I'm trying to do that. So that was mine.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's
And
important.
so you're an ally. How many other allies do we have in the room? All right. Can some of you all share why you chose that we are all better together and why you're here?
Hi, I'm Anshel,
Mhm.
and I'm from Brookline, Massachusetts. So
Mhm,
I'm
okay,
from East West as well. And Brookline High School, for those of you who might not know, is like a very liberal, open place. It's pretty diverse as far as high schools go. My graduating class is like almost 500 kids, like a lot of room for like different groups of people and different like organizations to go and stuff. And basically like since like the 7th or 8th grade, I've had like a core friend group of like there's 4 of us, including me. And like all throughout high school, like one by one, they all came out to me as like some sort of queer. And I think I never really like was like I'm an ally now, but like they're my best friends. So,
Right.
like why would I not be? So I never really thought twice about it. And then coming here and hearing about like this group that was like just forming, I was like, this isn't already a thing. I was like, wait a minute, like why isn't it? And then like hearing the word ally really like strikes a chord with me, and I think a lot of other people who might not know as much about this, and just being able to like take a stand and be like, I am an ally, and like this is who I am, and then like also being able to like go back to my high school friends and be like, I'm an ally. Like, wow, I didn't even know that was like a thing that I could like be, and like I had to like say it, but like it's really cool that like I can be a part of this group and be like in a leadership position on it and help it form and grow and become what we want it to be as like an ally.
And I think
Thank
the
you.
beautiful thing, and I guess the goal, is that we not have to say it, right? That we be able to live in a world, in a society in which people don't have to say, I'm an ally. It's just understood that gay people and straight people are people. They're people, and there's nothing different about us. I think that's incredible, and it's so important to have you who are allies, meaning you are in solidarity with us, having you in these spaces and in our lives. So thank you.
So I, sorry. So I kind of grew up kind of similar to Logan, where just kind of straight white boy. Parents were pretty accepting of everything. My dad more so than my mom. My mom more like a joke. She's French, and you could argue that French culture is like kind of makes fun of everything. But so I kind of had both growing up, where for my dad it was kind of the not really accepting of intolerant of intolerance kind of thing. And my mom would, and her mom would joke about anything without actually anything, like any real sentiments of like racism or homophobia or anything, but just a little bit. And then growing up in high school, so I went to high school in the U.S. and my friends were a little on the Republican side. Their jokes were a little, a little too far. I like inappropriate jokes in a lot of ways, and I try to be mindful more and more, like how jokes that I think might be a little funny might actually not be okay for some people. And thankfully, I have friends that I'm close to that allow me to. They tell me when it's like, Nico, that's not okay. And it also helped that my high school was pretty liberal, and so I was kind of. It made me more aware of a lot of those issues that, if so many people are talking about it, and even though a lot of the other guys like me are saying, oh, I know they're just exaggerating, like, hey, well, everyone's talking about it, you're clearly wrong. There's something going on, and this can be any issues. And so this year, this group kind of allowed me to finally do something instead of just like, oh, I wish I could do something, and coming up with excuses like, oh, I don't know anything, I'm not going to be of any use. And coming to the meetings with Athlete Ally have been like really, I don't know if I consider myself a full ally because I don't really do as much as I think a lot of people in the group do. But I think just coming and being able to help in any way is helping me learn more about the struggles of LGBTQ or people of color, and it's also going to help me hopefully teach other people on my team, on the same team as around the team, like kind of help my teammates understand that some things aren't okay. You can joke about them. You can think, oh, like, no, it's fine. But maybe you should consider more about the implications of what you're saying.
Right.
And that applies to me as well. I still do it too often. Yeah, that's why.
That's so critical.
Thank you.
It's so critical and it's so important. You said the rowing team.
Yeah.
I see y'all
Yes, yes. All the time.
all the time. I'll be over there in the tower, and they just be rowing. And I said, I wonder what they talk about. Why they rowing? Cause I'll be scared we're gonna fall over. No, but
Yeah.
I think that level
It
of
is.
consciousness is so important, right? None of us are perfect, and some of us don't grow up with the same exposure to certain communities and issues and perspectives, and so I think that always being conscious and aware and willing to be corrected, willing to be exposed, willing to be vulnerable is so critical to growth and to the progression of our society. We need more people who are willing to say, you know what, I may have some stuff going on in my head that I don't quite know how to hash out, or I may not have some stuff going on in my head that should be going on in my head. Those thoughts are very important if we are to go anywhere in this world and in this society.
And I also would like to say, of course, this is still a very small group of people, and BU is a huge school, right? So even in your case, when you have all your friends and you're making these jokes and you maybe invite them to this talk or events like this, what are the responses?
I don't think I'm inviting them enough, but
Okay.
I think a lot of times just kind of, okay, yeah, I'll try to go. This week especially is difficult because it's finals week.
Right.
But I think it's kind of not the
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that is kind of like lacking right now at the school, and especially in the athletic community, that like we've been talking a lot about as a group, is just like visibility, just like being visible and
Right.
being like, you don't have to come to every meeting, you don't have to come to every talk. If you're cramming, go cram. But like just being able to like, I think, show people that like within the athletic community, which is like a pretty big community at this school, like there are people that like are allies, are lesbian, are gay, are bi, are all of these things, but they're also athletes, and like that's important. And I think like trying to like connect the dots there, where a lot of people are like locker room talk,
Right,
exhibit
right,
A.
exactly.
Like that's something that like happens on quite a few teams here, and it's like we're just trying to like be visible so that especially the teams that aren't necessarily thinking about these things or think that like locker room talk or like inappropriate jokes are like more okay, can see that like you might think that's okay, but like eventually like we will like get to a point where it's like it's not okay anymore, and there will be zero tolerance. And like just being able to show people that like there are people here who might not even identify as somewhere on any spectrum that you might be able to think of. Like I'm an ally, but I still care, and I'm not gonna like let you just say that and walk right past you and be like, yeah, that's great. Like no, like it matters because there are people that are impacted, and just trying to show people that like there are people that care about this here, especially like within the athletic community, where there's just like such like there's so many like gaps, and like I think we're just trying to like close those gaps and just be like a voice for people that need a voice right now.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick to just with Antonelle's comment? Like one of the things I see a lot with like our leadership programming too is a lot of students have a hard time and even no matter who you are, like student our level, like saying the hard things to our peers.
Yeah.
In those moments. So what are your thoughts on like how to like go about that, but knowing that it's difficult to make those like comments to our peers?
I think that a lot of us have to start telling our stories. And if people know more about our stories, then they can resonate and they can feel the emotion of what you're going through. They can think about a lot of the things that they say and how it may make someone else feel. And they can actually get to know the people that they're around and who they're working with. And maybe it'll change a lot of things.
Because if more people on your teams knew what your experiences were, not just what your identification is, then you create an opportunity for there to be some relevance or some relation. You know, when I started coming out to my friends, I told them my story, and I told them about the times that I tried to commit suicide. And those stories and those times when we discussed those things, it clicked some things. And I had friends that said, whoa, I didn't know that. I'm sorry that you ever felt like you had to go through that. That you ever was at a place in your life where you wanted to end it. Telling your stories. And then I think also, for those who are not LGBT, a part of the LGBT community, but are allies, I think internalizing an obligation and asking yourselves, I think it was Dr. King, who may have stated, and I'm paraphrasing, that essentially a man has to determine what they're willing to die for. Right? That you're not fit to live if there's nothing you're willing to die for. And I think it's that crucial. Not just what you're willing to be talked about for. What are you willing to put your life on the line for? What matters to you enough? How bad do you care about people that you will have a zero tolerance policy? Right? Not just the school, not just the environment. I have a zero tolerance policy. I think we all individually have to make up in our minds what it is we're willing to have a zero tolerance policy for. And what we're willing to be chastised and ostracized and disowned. You got to make up in your mind, are you willing to do that? Because for many of us who identify as LGBT, QIA, we have some other acronym, other letters too, that I try to become more sensitive to. For many of us, we've experienced being ostracized most of our lives until 17, and for me, 27. Going through most of your life being ostracized and having to live your life according to what everybody else thinks. And so I think being an ally requires saying, I'm going to also be in solidarity with you. I'm going to step into your shoes. And if you have to live your life where people ostracize you, then I'm willing to be ostracized too. I'm willing to be talked about too. And I think making that up in your mind will help you to stand up when it's time to stand up. And I think that's how we'll radically change culture. When more people are willing to change it. To say this is just not acceptable. And we just won't do this. And at the end of the day, not being fazed by people. People are limited. People are very limited. Limited in our perspectives, limited in our capacity to understand others. And because of that, you're going to always have ugly people. You're going to always have people who are going to be mean, evil, rude. And because of that, at some point you have to say, you know what? I can care less how you feel about me for telling you that I'm not going to let you talk to this individual like this. Believing in yourself starts first. Having confidence in who you are and what you stand for. And in this lifetime, it's all about becoming. That's what life is about. Becoming. Every single day, we're becoming. Every experience you have, every second you live, you're learning and you're taking in something new, something different. Whether it's a new particle in the air, you're taking in something always new.
Mhm.
And as you do that, you have to start making decisions about who you are. Because you can't let other people tell you who you are.
Mhm.
Because they may not believe or say the right thing. And you might just believe them. And you don't want to believe everything people say about you. So you have to make up in your mind who you are. And when you can make up in your mind who you are, then you can stand for something.
And I think we also have to learn how to connect with people. I think while we may be advocating for the LGBT community, a lot of people are advocating for other things. So it's what is our responsibility to join them in their efforts? And then they'll be more willing to join in our efforts. But if they see, okay, well, they care about me, then maybe I should care about them as well. But a lot of times we get very selfish in saying, okay, well, I'm going through this, and everybody should care about what I'm going through. And it's like, well, I'm going through something too, and you want me to care about what you're going through, but you're not advocating about what I'm going through. I know we experience that a lot in the Black community as well. A lot of people say, oh, we got to focus on racism and race relations. And then you have the LGBT community who say, okay, well, we are going through a lot ourselves, so listen to our struggles and help us. And it's like, well, at what point are we speaking up and saying, okay, well, racism is affecting this community, and what are we doing about that? So how can we expect a lot of people to care about us, and then we're not caring about their struggles? So it's really honing in on this, we're better together, and I'm going to care about you just like I want you to care about me. And I think that's how we're going to go forward with a lot of things too.
And lastly, intentionality. Be intentional. Be intentional, even in your approach, right? So if you know that you're dealing with somebody who's hot-headed, then you're going to probably change your approach on how you engage them and how you have that dialogue with them. And so be intentional. Pay attention to the person you're engaging with and study them and think about the most strategic and advantageous way of communicating with them, whatever it is you're trying to communicate with them. And I think if we had more people who were more intentional and more in the moment, right, more intentional and more in the moment, and didn't have some type of cookie cutter way for which they try to address these things, but they say, you know what, I'm going to address it based on the person and the individual that I am communicating with.
Right.
I'm talking to someone who thinks they've never been around a gay person in their lives, then I may have to change my approach on how I get them to realize there are gay people all around us. And your best friend who tell you they straight, they might be gay too. Because I think that's a reality that we need to become more aware of.
Yeah.
Because I've had plenty of friends. I say, I didn't know you were gay.
Can you just explain DL? Because you guys talked about your relationship being DL. We have a lot of allies, so I don't know how much they're
Yeah, so DL is down low. So that means most of my life I was acting like I was straight.
Right.
Or professing to be straight to the world, essentially.
And when we were together for 5 years, everybody knew us as best friends.
That was my best friend.
Yes,
yeah.
that's my best friend. That's my best friend. Yes. So.
We used to stay at the house. We would go to my parents' house, and I know they were like, "Why they always sleep in the room together?" But we would go to my parents' house, and that was my best friend, y'all. That's I mean, we would go on trips together. And if we get on the camera, I'd be like, "This is my boy D." This,
Yeah.
And you do that, but we went everywhere together. So I know I know they knew, but you had to know. You could. You were just being dumb if you didn't know. Okay.
But then at the same time, like say we were in college and you do hang out with your best friend a lot, So if we're hanging out together a lot, most people don't know. It's just like, okay, but that is your best friend. So they didn't know we were sleeping together in the bed at night. They just saw us during the day. So yeah, that's our down low relationship. So yeah.
You may have some people in your life who down low, and just keep loving on them. Literally, keep loving on them, because people who are down low, they're going through something very serious, y'all.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to find themselves, and they're trying to wrestle with societal customs and oftentimes internalizing those things and really trying to find themselves. And so it's important that we spread a lot of love, because a lot of people are going through a lot of things out there, even about trying to find themselves and understand themselves.
Yeah.
So that's really, really important.
We know how hard it is to keep secrets, so imagine living your life as a secret.
Yeah.
You know? It's tough.
Yeah, it's tough.
And I think a lot of people need to realize that a lot of gay people are going through that. And we've been going through it since the beginning of time. And we still are. You know, I mean, gay people just been able to get married in the last few years. You know, I mean, we still don't see representation of ourselves out in the public, on television. And it's like, well, if I don't see any positive representation of myself, then I don't even know how to accept myself. You know? Or I don't know how I'm supposed to love myself or how anybody else is going to react to me, because like you were saying, it's out of sight, out of mind. So I can't even think about what people are going to say when I come out, because nobody's even thinking about it in a sense. So
Y'all pick.
go ahead.
Whichever
Somebody
one of y'all
just
want
go.
to go first.
I guess I just had a question. So a year and a half ago, I was a group of friends from back home, and we got really close my senior year, and about a year and a half ago, one of my friends came out as gay, and the whole group was caught off guard because he didn't actually address it to anyone. It was like, hey guys, I'm gay. It was like, you saw it on Instagram, it was a picture with some dude, and we were all trying to figure out what was happening. And not to go into too much backstory, but I've had problems understanding what it means to be gay and things like that, and I've never really I won't say I've never understood it, but at least throughout my life I was taught very many things, as you probably understand. I grew up Christian, I grew up in a black household. There are things that just are not okay, and so I didn't really understand it. And I guess my question for you guys is how do you guys because there's been this gray area for a year and a half where we're friends, we hang out, we talk, we just don't talk about it. It just doesn't get brought up. We all know, and amongst the because there's a group of 5 of us. Amongst the other 4 of us, we'll what's going on? Is he with a guy? No one really knows because he doesn't talk about it. We don't talk about it. How do we bridge that line for communication?
Do y'all talk to each other about girls y'all talking to?
See, and that's the thing. We did, and then when that happened, it just no one talked about it anymore. We just kind of stopped. No one brings up who's dating who. We just don't talk about it.
But then I think you just gotta be bold and bring it up.
Just talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it up.
I mean, why do you feel like you're not bringing it up?
I think no one wants to make him feel uncomfortable, but there are definitely in our group, there are definitely probably 1 or 2 other guys who are really not okay with it, and that makes it good or good for bad. Our group works because we're really different people, but that's one area where I feel we don't know how to talk about it because some of us just don't know how to talk about it. I guess.
Truth be told, I feel like you're making them more uncomfortable by not talking about it.
Because he's sitting out there thinking about what y'all thinking about, and it's making it worse.
Yeah.
So I think the way that you address it is you embrace him. You say, hey, who you dating?
Right, exactly.
Don't make it taboo. And be the leader in the group. So for those who are far out and they are not okay, then you have to be the one to say, but I am. And I'm sticking with my brother. And y'all gonna have to come on.
Right.
You have to come on.
Right.
So I think you just gotta step and be the leader. I'm gonna let her go and then I'm coming in.
I just wanted to kind of go back and talk about what Derrick was talking about, just exposure. So my dad, he's a captain in the Navy. I've lived in 7 different places growing up, beginning in Texas and Florida and North Carolina. I moved out of North Carolina when I was really young, but I kind of grew up in that environment as I was forming my own opinions and what I thought were my own opinions and whatnot. But just growing up also in a very Catholic, white, conservative household, and just dad's right about everything, of course. When you're in elementary school, you think your dad's right about everything. And, you know, everyone in my school thought the same way. And I remember one of my best friends was like the only liberal in North Carolina, and she, you know, she did, or not in North Carolina, in my school.
Said, my goodness.
And I just remember that, I mean, she did the same thing. She, you know, just talking, saying what her dad would say, but she was bold, and she would, you know, people would fight with her about politics, and no one knew what they were talking about. But like, she was the only one in the school who was not a conservative. So I can't imagine how that felt. But just, you know, growing up in that environment, and then I then moved to California for a year, and then overseas to Japan. That was a very different environment. That was all military kids on a base, so super diverse, like minority white. Just got to learn about every type of person, which was really cool. I don't remember how much LGBT like exposure I had. It was not that much still. But then once I moved from there, I moved to the suburbs of Chicago, which, although are pretty white, are very, very liberal. And that was in 8th grade. So moving from different environments, I get very many different perspectives. So, you know, I don't know what I would be like if I had not moved. Obviously, it changes you a lot. I'm thankful that I've been able to see so many different perspectives. But also, I know that the people who've grown up in, you know, the very liberal environment, especially the LGBT community, super lucky. I can't imagine. I have I remember my best friend, the same one who was super liberal in North Carolina. Her brother came out when I was in 5th grade, I think, and everyone was talking about it. And at that time, I didn't really know what it meant, and I was just like, what? I mean, I wasn't living there when that was going on, but I can't imagine how that was for him. And then one of my best friends from like 1st grade is also, you know, he's come out as gay, and he and his boyfriend post on social media, which is amazing. But there's also a lot of social media that I'm still seeing, and this is the only contact I'm having with people from them because I was so young. But seeing most of their posts on social media is super duper different than, like, you know, posts on social media from my friends back home now. And I think it's just exposure. I mean, I remember coming back, and this is the silliest example, but like watching Glee was like one of the first moments where I saw like gay people on screen, and like you know, having the show you relate to them, and like it being emotional, and like that like kind of even like was a good exposure, I think, for me too, which is, you know, silly and small, but like really I think did a lot for me, and like being in this new environment too. And then we have my dad, who is very conservative, very stubborn. I am straight, but very passionate about, you know, other people. So I get in a lot of fights with him about it, which sounds, you know, crazy that like I'm fighting for not myself, but like screaming matches with my dad. But yeah, it's like, it's crazy that like just growing up in different environments can like change how you think.
Drastic.
Yeah. I have a question. So earlier I heard you guys mention something about Instagram. Y'all have an Instagram. What do you post on your Instagram? Just like about events and...
I was talking about the department-wide.
Okay. So does the Athlete Allies have an Instagram?
We're like just like starting to get it. I think we're trying to like get more people aware of the group first, like kind of word of mouth, and just starting these events. And we're gonna start to develop our Instagram a little bit. So it's like when more people know about it. I'm the newly elected social media chair.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
It's not that exciting, but
yes, it is, girl.
I mean, I think that's an interesting thing to bring up because we're thinking about, okay, like, how do we engage with the community
Mhm.
in that, and like, what is the best way to, reach out to people in a way that, everyone will see it, but how they, care about it.
Right. And so I think you have one of the most important roles. So it is very important, and congratulations to you. Social media is our tool, y'all, and we have to use it. And we have access to everybody all over the world. So when we want to talk about exposure, it's like use that platform and make videos, talk about your support for the LGBT community, share your stories, and share this all over the world so people can start seeing what I have to say and that I support this and maybe I should support it too. When our video went viral. So y'all say it was 42,000 views on there, but we had over 11 million views on all of the platforms that it went viral on. So it was absolutely ridiculous, the feedback we got, but then it was amazing. A lot of our new followers are from the continent of Africa. So you have men and women reaching out to us every single day, definitely from Africa, and they're just like, if I was to come out, I would be killed, I would be put in jail. Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I deal with it? How do I love myself? How do I love the person that I'm with that I can't tell anybody about? And you guys give me so much hope, and I love seeing your post on Instagram. I love seeing your post on YouTube. And I feel like we have a responsibility to get on social media and show the world who we are and who we support. And that can change a lot of minds and a lot of hearts because we don't have a lot of representation out there. So if we can use the platform and expose people, then we can change a lot of hearts. So.
Man, then you have, you make sure when you get started, you have BU Athletics do a little post
Mm-hmm.
so that y'all can get some followers and get BU to do a post
Mm-hmm.
so you can get some followers and have everybody in the group do a post
Yeah.
to push people to the page. Like, be real strategic and take it serious
Yeah.
so that you can use it as a platform
Mhm.
to drive messages of hope and equality, unity, and love. Take it very, very serious. A lot of people make Instagram and Facebook pages and we just let them fall by the wayside,
Mhm.
not realizing the power that they have
Yeah.
and the impact that they can make. So
Yeah.
you do have a very important role.
Yes. Yeah, so.
Somebody had their hand there it is. Look.
Yeah, just like coming back to what you were saying, at least in my own experience and from what I've seen from a lot of my friends, the most supportive thing that you can do is just normalize what's going on.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
that one of the reasons why it's so hard to come out as homosexual or whatever you're coming out as is because you feel so different and everything is different about you and everyone's looking at you and you're different and you're the weirdo and whatever. So like for me, one of my favorite experiences that I've had here, the strength and conditioning coach, like I'd go into lift looking like this with my nails painted and earrings on and shit. And the strength coach, I don't know how many people have interacted with him, but his name's Tim. He's like 6'4", massive, tatted up, bald, bearded dude. Super fantastic person. I had the best experience with him, and he never looked at me different. He never questioned anything. And I told him when he left, I said, "You couldn't have done anything better."
Mhm.
It means so much to me because he didn't look at me any differently or question what I was doing. That's really all I ask is to just be accepted. You know,
Mhm.
like certainly sometimes I face people like, well, if you want to be accepted, why would you paint your nails when that's weird? I'm
Mhm.
like, because I want to. Like,
Right.
I'm allowed to, and
Right.
I shouldn't be chastised for it.
Mhm.
Sure, I look different, but like, I look different than everybody in this room, and not because of my
Mhm.
nails or because of my earrings, just because everybody's different. You know, like that power of normalization is what I found to be the most
Yeah.
positive impact that somebody can have. So it would just be like they were saying, the same way that you talk to your other friends about their relationships with women, you could talk to this friend about his relationship with his friend or boyfriend or whatever this is.
Mhm.
And just, like, don't be like, what the fuck is happening? Just say like, hey, so like, that's pretty cool. And I just think the normalization is a big thing that
Yeah.
would mean a lot to your friend.
Mhm.
Ask him if he treat you right. Ask questions you ask anybody. He treat you right. Is he nice to you? Let me know if I need to beat him up for it. What you about to say?
Mhm.
I thought
No,
I saw a hand.
you about to say something?
I
Yep.
was just gonna say, yeah, I think like I went through like a similar situation when like each one of my best friends like slowly came out, and like the first one was like my freshman year of high school when like I didn't know anything. I knew nothing, and it was like before like one of my like first rowing practices ever, like back when I started freshman year of high school, and she just like came up to me and she was like, "We need to talk about something." And I was like, yeah, talk to me, I'm getting ready, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, "I'm bi." And I was like, "You're what?" She was like, "Wait." And she was like, "I'm bi." And I was like, "How do you know?" Or like, that was like my first response looking back, yikes, but like, I was like, "How do you know?" And she was like, "I've known for a while. But yeah, I like boys, I like girls, I like you, I wanted to tell you, you've been my best friend since the 3rd grade, and like, I'm bi, and I'm Sarah, and like, I love you, I just wanted to tell you." And I was like, "Oh." And I like gave her a hug, not really understanding like what was happening. But as I like processed it later, I was like, so when she said that she liked Rihanna, she meant she liked Rihanna. I shit you not, I remember having this moment where I was like, wait, all those times that we talked about like our celebrity crushes, like, she meant
She
it,
was
and I
pushing,
didn't.
babe.
I was like, yeah. And like she is like she like over the course of high school like became like president of GSA. Like I went to like one of their meetings, and it was like very eye-opening for me, but it was like very much like she said, like she was Sarah first. She had been my best friend since the 3rd grade, and then like she was bi. But it wasn't anything different. It wasn't anything special. It was just like something that like she wanted to share with me because it was like a very personal thing, and she just like felt like she wanted to tell me. And then now like, you know, like I'm the token straight friend, so like they'll be like, "How are your boys doing?" And I'm like, "I don't. It doesn't matter." But, like, it's way less exciting. Like it's way more fun to talk to them because they're all a lot more like fluid and out there, and they all go to like small liberal arts while I'm like here doing sports. Like it's boring, but like they like are so exciting, and it's just like being able to just like talk to them and just like I don't even like really bring it up with them because I think if they're like you don't want to make him feel uncomfortable, you don't want to make yourself feel uncomfortable. It's just like it feels kind of weird at first. Like I was literally a freshman in high school. Like imagine, like I was 13 and she was like, "I'm bi," and I was like, I don't know what that means. I had to Google it. It was a whirlwind, but like just like being able to like be there for them and just like, you know, when they say things, and like honestly, like I think like my friends that have like come out to me are like my biggest resources, and like when I'm like, "Oh, what does that word mean?" I like ask them instead of like Googling it, so I can get like an informed response from them. And like they've taught me so many words. Like one of my friends came out to me as like demisexual, and that was like senior year of high school, and I had to look that up again, and I was like, I have no idea what that means. Like you're gonna have to break this down for me. And like, you know, I don't view myself as like an ignorant person. Like I'm pretty liberal, I'm pretty feminist, I'm pretty out there, but like I still don't know things, and so like they have a lot that they can teach me, and it's just like being able to engage in conversations with them because like they're my friends first, and then on top of that they're bi, demisexual, queer, gender this, gender that. Like I don't know, I just like am learning from them, and then being able to take that and bring it with me like here and be like, well, I'm an ally now, so that's like what I do, and then like being able to like pass that on to other people. But like they're your friends first, and like if they feel comfortable talking about it with you, then like you should feel just as comfortable. It's like it's a bigger step for them than it is for you. It's like someone who's like privileged enough to just like everyone assumes that everyone is straight, and then you're like, yeah, comfortable. Whereas other people are like, what? No, not like, and other people have to go through that extra process of like thinking about it and changing, and like over the course of high school, just like I think they went through so many stages of like, I think I might do this, I think I might do that. Well, I just got to sit there and be like, I'm straight, and I think I want to go to BU, and like that was my biggest thing. Whereas they were having like real identity like crises like throughout high school, and I was just sitting there, and I was like, I'm here for you. Like we can talk about it, and like I think honestly I've just grown so much closer with them, and like it's just like been a great learning experience for like everyone involved. So just like the more that you can talk to them about it and just be like, they're your friend first, and like it doesn't even have to be like a big thing. You can just be like, hey, hope you're doing okay, and then like they'll respond, like because all of us go to school in different places now, and I'll be like, hey, I hope you're doing okay, and then they'll be like, so I met this person and this person and this person. I'm like, okay, cool, but like it's not as big a deal as like it has to be.
And I think a lot of times we just overthink sexuality, you know? a lot of people would say, well, when did you choose to be gay? And it's like, well, when did you choose to be straight? You know? And they can never answer the question. And it's like, okay, well, then you just answer my question for me. I mean, I think if a lot of people just literally ask themselves that question, you wouldn't even have to say, oh, I just don't understand how you can be attracted to the same sex. It's just like, well, when did you even think you had to battle with the thoughts who you were attracted to? You know, that was the same way I had with my life, you know? So I think if we go about that with that approach and have those thoughts, then it'll clear up a lot of our confusion too.
And oftentimes, even for straight people, there's often this misconception that once you know that someone in your circle, and once you know someone who's gay, that you think that that means they want you.
Yes,
and that they're going to hit on you,
Yes.
and so I think that's also important. I charge straight people with this challenge to help us inform straight people that gay people don't want you like this.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
I don't know why you thought you was that cute.
Exactly. Exactly.
It ain't that serious.
Exactly.
Like, I
Exactly.
think it's really, really important that that notion gets deconstructed.
And we just don't over-sexualize sexuality.
Yeah.
You know, it's not all about attraction. It's not all
Right.
about I just want to have sex with somebody else. It's like, okay, this is who this person is. You know, this is who this is who they are, what makes me happy, who I love. And like Jonathan said, you know, just because I'm gay doesn't mean I'm attracted to you. You know? And I think a lot of people need to realize that. Definitely you have a lot of straight men who are just like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be attached to a gay guy because they're going to try to hit on me. And it's just like, why do you even think that's the first thing that comes to a gay man is their attraction to you? Like, they just want friends, they just want love, they just want to be loved. So what does that have to do with anything? Go ahead.
I think it's interesting because, like, I don't want to go too far into detail. When you said that, it kind of made me think, like, when I was in high school, but my earlier years, I was, and like, I couldn't really say this because, like, I know, but like, I was homophobic. Like, that was just something that, like, I understood. I was, like, it wasn't even like if I saw someone who was gay, like, I would kind of like move away. It was just, I knew it was something I did, and I think it was my junior year of high school. I had a principal approach me, and she was like, one of my vice principals was like, you know, I really think this would be a good thing for our school to have a diversity council. For other schools, it's like, you know, an ally type thing, but essentially it was the same thing, except it didn't just focus on the LGBT thing. And like, again, like, I was still kind of in my shelter, like, we can talk about everything else, but you know, and she kind of opened my mind to that. And I remember having this like, going in with that same kind of like I'm homophobic mindset. We went to a county-wide thing where it was all the schools in the county, everyone who had a diversity council. We met, we spoke, and it was my first actual interaction with a gay male, like my first ever interaction. And I remember walking away that day, and I was like, what was wrong? Like, he didn't do anything. Like, there wasn't anything wrong. Like, he tried to hit on me. Like, basically, I was like, I've been tripping. Basically, like, I've been tripping for all these years. And like, from that point forward, I was kind of like, you know, like there's no issue. But like, it's kind of like you always, like, at least for me, it was kind of like I can see it, like I can deal with it, and it was like, because it was always out there.
Right.
It wasn't like it's in my friend group, and then it was like, whoa, you know, like, I could be that ally for people who not really like but like, this is my best friend. Like, I've known this. I've known him for
Exactly.
years.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
it was just like, whoa. Like, I was taken aback, and like, I did call him. Like, when he told me, I called him, and I was like, you know, like, how this happened. Like, I spoke to him a little bit. It didn't go into much detail. It was just like, you know, where this come from. Like, you know, how'd you? I kind of said the same thing. When did you just, you know, when you decide this?
Right.
That was not the right way to handle it, first off. And I understand that, but like, I did address it that way, and like, since then, there's kind of been this awkward atmosphere about it, where it's like, we all know, but we just don't talk about it, you know. And it's like, it's always been this kind of gray thing.
Yeah.
Well, now that you know that was the wrong response, I want to encourage you to go and apologize to him, and let him know you recognize that was the wrong response.
Yeah.
I think we have to do that kind of work too. When we grow, that we correct those areas and those offenses, because that's offensive.
Yeah.
And
Definitely coming from a best friend, you know?
yeah, someone that he obviously loves and care about. So I think if you do that, I think you're going to open up a door for healing. That's going to be very strong for your relationship. And you're going to have to tell me all about it.
Yes.
Seriously, you're going to have to tell me all about it.
Yeah.
So let's stay in contact, because I want to know how y'all progress, and anything that we can do to be a part of that progression, let us know. That's important to us. I want to tell y'all a story before we. What y'all doing with these cards?
Well, I'm keeping an eye on the time over there, and
Yeah.
I know we can keep going, but I
Oh,
know
it's getting
that
late.
these guys
Yeah.
are still in finals
Yeah,
mode.
yeah.
So
Me too.
I was gonna try to wrap it up, but.
I'm just gonna tell y'all a quick story,
Okay.
and I'm done.
Yeah.
Perfect, and the cards
Oh,
are,
okay.
just to give just some input on tonight, I didn't bring the feedback cards, so
Oh,
if
that'd
you
be
wouldn't
great.
mind sharing your thoughts.
That'd be great.
Go ahead, Mookie, you got something?
Yeah.
For the whole thing.
Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I know I didn't really get much time to introduce myself and know a little bit more about my background, but hopefully this isn't the last time that we meet. We'll have more of an opportunity to do that. So first of all, thank you all for coming here. It's been amazing tonight. I just want to say I'm excited to be here. And, I've been, really just in tune and listening to everything that, has been said here tonight. And I'm learning a lot. And the reason why I'm excited is because this is the groundbreaking stuff right here. Like when we're trying to become better leaders, better versions of ourselves, there's no apologies. They are who they are. And what that's liberating within itself, because I can see now that, there's nothing stopping them from doing whatever it is. And I know that's true for all of you. There's nothing stopping you from attaining any goal that you have set. And regardless of what people say about you, you are great. So, that's my little spiel. I wrote a bunch of things down, just caught up in the moment. I really appreciate it, y'all. But don't forget that, y'all. So I appreciate y'all inviting me to your space. Certainly this has been, wonderful. But, like I said, continue to connect, because the most important thing in life is social connection.
Yeah.
Feeling connected, being able to look somebody in the face and get to know them. And, for your friends, certainly, make sure you have a conversation with him, because he might want to tell you guys, or he knows of those two people who aren't okay with that. He could probably sense that. You know what I mean? So just continuing to be, compassionate and empathizing with just everybody, regardless, what color, sex, sexual orientation, what may have you. We're all just trying to do it. So, that, I think, we do that, we can certainly be better together.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank y'all.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell y'all a story. I'm gonna stand up for this,
Yes.
because this is the end. And this is my favorite
story.
My favorite movie is The Lion King. And The Lion King starts off in Pride Rock, and Simba is born. Simba's father name is Mufasa. His mom name is, what's her name? Zurabi. And his best friend is Nala. He has an uncle named Scar. And so he's born, and Scar is upset because Scar no longer gets to be the heir to the throne. And so he conjures up a conspiracy to kill Mufasa and Simba, actually. But he fails at killing Simba, and he kills Mufasa. But Simba is there. So if y'all know the movie, so I don't have to tell you every little line. Because I'll do it if I have to.
You really would.
It's my movie.
you would.
It's my movie. And so here's Simba laying over standing over his dead father. He's not really standing over him because he's a little baby, but he's standing next to him. Y'all get the picture. So he's standing next to his dead father, and Scar comes down, and he convinces Simba that he killed his father. Simba's a child, and so he believes it, and he's manipulated into believing that. And so he tells Simba to run away and never return. And so Simba runs away, and he dehydrates in the desert, and all of a sudden, out of the blue comes these two other characters in the movie, and their name are Timon and Pumbaa. And they raise him up in this life called Hakuna Matata. And it means no worries for the rest of your day. It's a problem-free. Come on, y'all. Philosophy.
Yeah.
So he's raising up, he's jumping off waterfalls and eating grubs and slugs. He's doing all that stuff, and he's growing up, and then all of a sudden he gets older, and Nala comes out of nowhere and she's trying to eat Pumbaa. And Simba intervenes and they begin to rustle and puzzle. And she pins him to the ground and it triggers a memory from their childhood when she used to do that to him. And he says, Nala? She says, who are you? He says, it's me, Simba. She says, we thought that you were dead. Because remember, he ran away and he never returned. And so she said, well, you got to come back home because the hyenas have taken over the Pride Land. And we have no food to eat. All of the herd has moved out. And you need to come back because you're the one true king. Mm-hmm. And he says, no. He says, I can't do that. She says, why not? He says, don't matter. Hakuna Matata. And so he walks off and he's pacing back and forth. And then this other character comes out of nowhere. His name's Rafiki, the wise baboon. And he talks to Simba and he tells Simba, I know who you are. And he says, how do you know who I am? He says, you're Mufasa's boy. He says, well, I'm sorry to tell you, but my father is dead. He says, your father's not dead. He's still alive. And he said, you come on, follow me over Rafiki. I'm going to show you the way. I did my part. And so they go to a pond. And when they get to the pond, Simba tells him to look at the water. And Rafiki looks, or Simba looks at the water, and he said, I don't see my father. All I see is a reflection of myself. And Rafiki says, no, look a little harder. Mm-hmm. So he looks a little harder. And all of a sudden, out of the sky appears Mufasa. And he says, Simba, you have forgotten me. Simba says, no, father, how have I forgotten you? He says, because you have forgotten who you are. You're my son, the one true king, and you are more than what you've become. Mm-hmm. Go back and take your place in the circle of life. Remember who you are. Mm-hmm. Remember who you are. Remember who you are. Mm-hmm. Remember. 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 And all of a sudden the sky clears up and the clouds fade away. And Rafiki comes back. He says, whoop! He says, the weather. And Simba says, yeah. It's the wind that's changing. And Rafiki says, change is good. Simba says, yeah, but it's not always easy. He says, because I've been running from my past for so long. And Rafiki takes his stick and he hits him on the head. And Simba says, ouch, what was that for? He says, it doesn't matter. It's in the past. And he says, yeah, but the past can hurt. But the way that I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. And he takes his stick, he swings it at Simba's head this time, but this time Simba ducks. And he says, oh, you learn fast. And Simba gets the nerve and the courage, and he runs back to Pride Rock, and he joins up with Timon and Pumbaa and all of the other lionesses that are in the kingdom, and they get together and they took back over Pride Rock. And it came back to life again. Mm-hmm. We're better together, y'all. Mm-hmm. If we just come together, we can make this world come to life again. Mm-hmm. We can make other people's lives better again. Mm-hmm. And those who have never had a good life, we can help make people's lives better. Yeah. Together. Let's do it. We're so honored to be here with you all tonight.
Yes. Thank y'all so much.
So blessed.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nichols. Yes. Thank you. Thank each and every one of y'all. Yes.
We, on behalf of Athlete Ally and View Athletics, have a little gift for you.
Aw, thank you.
Our apologies. One of them got a little food on it.
So
okay.
We're getting you other.
So y'all can give me an.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got one shirt.
Hey.
And
all right.
some hats.
This is beautiful.
That is nice.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course. This is from all of
Thank
us.
you.
But thank you so much for coming.
Thank y'all.
Crazy thing is, I was looking over there and I was going to ask you, can I have
Yeah,
that
I was
shirt?
going to ask for one too.
This is
Okay.
the clean one.
All right, this the clean one? All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Beautiful. Oh, did I?
We got another one.
Hey.
Look.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, we
All
so
right.
appreciate you.
This
We
is
appreciate
incredible.
y'all. Thank you so much.
This
Thank
was
you.
really fun
Thank
for
you.
us
Oh,
to
this
hear
is
from you.
beautiful.
Can we get a picture
Yeah,
with everybody?
Let's do it.
Look, I'm
and
going to put
thank
my...
you all for coming. I know it's like a really hectic time, so thank you for being here and sharing your story.
Yes.
Yes.
And y'all,
Yes.
I wish y'all well on your finals. Kill them. Get it done. And we're going to have a good time. And we'll see y'all soon. All right? And I'm going to have to come watch some of y'all games and stuff. I ain't never been to none of the athletic stuff.
Yes. Yes.
I'm one of my 3 on here, so I'm going to come check y'all out.
Yes.
And this rolling. Check y'all out.
All right.
Oh, that's when y'all do it? Early in the morning?
Like that?
8 a.m.
There's a race this weekend.
Yeah, the race this weekend.
This weekend?
My
We have
goodness.
to go to Worcester though.
How far is that?
40 minutes.
That's an hour?
Hour max.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
We're gonna take a
All right.
group photo.
Okay.
We can all sit here.
Where should we stand?
Yeah, we can just turn that way.
All right.
I'm gonna go back.
All right. Let me move the tag out.
All right.
All right, y'all.
We're gonna face Tom.
Oh, I'm like, okay, which way we're facing?
Okay, I'm too short to
Yes, come on.
We need our guys.
Probably. Yeah. I think so. So we might be good.
JD front center.
You might have to.
Oh, yay. I'm in the middle. Yay.
All right. Can you see?
You might have to bend down a little bit.
All right, ready?
Yay.
Yay.
Did it take it with the big camera too? I saw like a flash.
Awesome.
Can we do like one of these big group hugs? I just feel like kind of vibe.
All right.
All right, let's do that.
Come, you want to?
Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. How y'all? Oh, there's
All right, I'm missing.
strength and love and peace to each and every one of you.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, you guys
I want to see everybody. Make it a little bit bigger.
Perfect.
Right in the middle. Perfect. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
Peace and love and success to each and every one of you as you go. Change the world. Put more love and light into it. It's been a blessing. Seriously.
And do it together, y'all.
Stood together.
All
We're
right.
better together.
Yes.
Until next time.
Until next
Thank
time.
you.
Thank y'all. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.